Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the first episode of Hour of the Demon. I'm your host, Sam Astaroth. Thank you for joining in. As some of you may know, I'm the vocalist of Astaroth Incarnate, as well as Imer, and I do guest features and a few other things. I've been taking an e-commerce course. I've been quite busy on doing a lot of things, actually, and been really busy over this quarantine and whatnot, to try to get everything together, align my career and do this music and e-commerce full time. And I really want to take this time to connect to all of you out there, anywhere in the world, as well as our community, and really be there for you all. And, you guys can also be there for me, and we can all connect to each other and, not feel like we're left alone. It's a really nice way for me to connect to other musicians, producers, artists, and performers of various walks of life. So, I figure I'm going to be doing a different topic every week. I'm going to go on 7 o'clock at Monday, Eastern Daylight Time every week, and have a different guest and have different topics that I want to, talk to you guys about, and you guys can chime in. Today we're going to be talking about vocals, possibly lyrics, and the Junos was last night, so it's going to be pretty fun, guys. I have my guest Alex from Blood of Indigo here, so I'm going to be inviting him shortly. If any one of you joining in, I'll just say hi to you guys. Oh, my bandmate Pablo is here. Pablo said, "Hey man, hey buddy, good to see you." That's my guitarist of Astaroth Incarnate. Also, my keyboardist Ashley is here. She says, "Oh hi, Mark." It's nice to see you guys. I'm going to be inviting over my buddy Alex, so there you go. All right.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Oh, doing good, man.
It's the Hour of the Demon.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's got like that big WrestleMania feel. I even brought the belts over, too. The big spinny belt.
Perfect.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
Let me tell you something, brother.
It wouldn't be...
What a time to be alive.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Come on. COVID, whatever, who cares? Like, we're here having fun and, making sure that we're in good, positive mental health and connecting with each other and everyone else. So, hey, this is great.
100%, brother.
Yeah, man, it's really nice to have you on my first episode,
Yeah, you know what? It's an honor to be here, man. I mean, being the first guest, it's, there's a lot of pressure to be the best guest. The first and the best, but who knows? Who knows what can happen? Anything can happen on Monday Night Raw. You can even win 2 belts in the same night.
Oh, win the tag team championship by yourself.
Tag team champions of the world, brother. Sam Astaroth and Alex Tetrami are going to go out there, and we're going to win JUNO Awards.
Hopefully sometime in the future, but
the JUNO Awards just happened yesterday. A funny thing talking about it, and out of all the awards that are there, the ones obviously we care about the most are the metal and hard music of the album of the year. And I was watching it yesterday, and Stryker from Edmonton, they won with their album Play to Win, which is awesome. Congrats to them. And also, our friends, you're wearing her shirt, Lindsay Schoolcraft was nominated. So that was awesome because I also share producer Tyler and orchestrator Spencer with her. So it's really awesome to see them all get nominated, and I was very happy for them. Also, my friends from the Agonist was nominated as well for their album Orphans, which was really great. I thought they really stepped up their game on that album. Vicky's been on fire since she joined, but this album she really killed it. Also, there was Cobra and Lotus that got nominated. I think they got nominated before as well, and then Single Mothers Through a Wall got nominated. So there was a lot of good bands that actually got nominated, which made me very happy. What are your thoughts on the Junos this year? Like, I know we couldn't have the big, live show, but
with all of COVID and everything, the world has completely changed. Now we're doing everything online, and we're taking things to a different perspective. And, nonetheless, it's still the JUNO Awards, and it's still a huge honor and still a huge deal to have your name up on that screen. And, both of us are really good friends with Lindsay Schoolcraft, and she's a mentor and a friend to myself, and I know she is to you as well. And I'll tell you right now, when I saw her name come up on that screen, I almost shed a tear, man. In fact, I think I did shed a tear. I'm not even going to lie to you, man. I was so happy for her because, I know how much hard work she put into that album, Martyr, and in just listening to that album, it's just an amazing piece of work. And she inspires me as an artist every day to work harder for Blood of Indigo and to, work harder at the course that we're both in, Savvy Musician Academy and the Elite program, and she's in the course as well. And she's been very helpful with a lot of the questions that I've had in regards to the course and even just being an artist. And it's an honor too to have her on our debut Blood of Indigo album, Dawn of the Shaded World. She's going to be on the title track, and that song is a very personal song to me because I dedicated the lyrics to those songs to the passing of my dog when she passed away, when we had to put her down. The song lyrics that Lindsay says, that was the emotions that were going through my mind at that time when I had to let go of my best friend of 15 years. And I had known her since I was 8 years old, my dog. And, what I like to do is I like to intertwine lyrics with fantasy in my lyrics. So I intertwine reality and fantasy at the same time. So I take the elements of things that happen in my actual everyday life, or just, it could just be things that I thought sounded really good, and I give them a fantasy context because that's just the world that I come from. I'm a fantasy guy, and I'm a big fan of video games and movies and dark fantasy themed things, and that's how I feel I communicate the best. So I'm really proud of that song and really happy that I got to have Lindsay on there. And big shout out to Mario and Nathan, my other bandmates as well in Blood of Indigo, who are doing a fantastic job. And we just got some mad chemistry, man. Really good things are coming and are on the way. So
I'm so stoked for you guys because I can't wait to hear that song with Lindsay, and even hearing some of the other tunes. Like, I haven't heard it finished yet, but whatever Mario showed me and some of the stuff that Nathan's been doing. I'm involved in Nathan's other project, Haven Dream, to do a couple songs for him, and he's been like killing it in terms of composition. So, we're coming right out of like the university. I was at his university graduation. So, seeing him really push himself and, like doing his own thing, doing all the keyboard orchestration for you guys, that's really cool, man. I can't wait to like hear the full product. And I know that we're both a part of Savvy. Elite, and I wouldn't be sitting here right now and doing this. Like, I wouldn't even have the confidence and like financial not responsibility, what would you call it, financial and personal discipline, to be able to do this now, during COVID, during not working, and instead of like doing nothing and freaking out, I'm just working away on the course. We're releasing playthroughs, finishing writing our full-length album with Astaroth Incarnate. Ironmare is finishing. I'm recording the next Ironmare album vocals next week, next Tuesday actually. So things are moving along faster than ever, probably because we're not playing shows, and we're like getting smarter in terms of like business decisions, how to be independent, how to really take care of our social circle, how to be there for our friends. And you notice that the more you give and the more you reach out, the more you get back, and there's no limit to how much you can really give, because like you give without any hopes of getting anything back, and you'll just get so much more back. And,
100%.
It really pushes you forward. Pablo said can't stick around for the whole stream, but good luck. I'll check the rest later. Hopefully, cheers, guys. Thanks, Pablo. You have a good one. Ashley said, walk on, dudes. We'll listen to us later. All right. Well, we got some guests joining us. This is actually live on quite a few places, so thanks everyone, whoever is joining us. We're going to be discussing vocals today because, I'm a vocalist, Alex is a vocalist, so what better way to, start my podcast but then to talk about the one thing I'm very good at and terrible at everything else.
No, don't say that. You're the world champion, Sam. How can you say that?
Oh, well, I'll have to do like a Kane fire pose now since I got the Kane background.
Yeah, dude. Like if your exit theme could just be that Finger 11 song that was Kane's entrance theme, just like fire comes up on the screen.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I love Kane. Man. I don't know. I know he's like a mayor or.
He is. He's the mayor of Tennessee, of Knoxville, Tennessee now.
I
wrote a
just,
book about it too.
whenever like guys like Arnold and Kane become mayors, I just imagine like Arnold just wrecking the whole, White House or something, walking in as a Terminator, or Kane just choke slamming everybody. Like, fuck you guys.
Honestly, like it's actually kind of like it's really weird seeing Kane like show up for matches now because I'm like, aren't you like a mayor? Because like back then wrestling had like this mystique of like he would walk into the ring and you'd just be like, holy mackerel, that's gotta be Kane. And he'd just walk in and he was 7 feet tall, 323 pounds of ferociousness.
The big red machine.
When I was a kid, dude, I would crap my pants looking at Kane. And I was like, God, I don't want to know what that guy looks like underneath that mask. And then one day he took off the mask. And he was even more terrifying under the mask.
Oh, the first time when he took off the mask, they had like all this black stuff on him. They shaped his head so it looked like half his head was burned off. They did such a good job with it.
Dude, then he choke slammed Rob Van Dam like a helicopter that crashed down into the rubble. Man, that was so cool. Yeah, and as a kid, like watching wrestling as a kid is so magical. And that's why I try to like keep like I think that's really the key to happiness, man, being a kid forever. And that's why my whole room looks like it's 2004.
You know what? Some people may shy up on it and they're like, oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, you're getting old, you're supposed to be boring now. I'm like, absolutely not. You're getting old, so you're supposed to be more fun than ever because now you can just do whatever the hell you want.
I know.
Nobody can stop you or tell you no. And even if they do, it doesn't matter. Yeah, just
100%. Because I remember do you remember being a kid and being like, man, I can't wait to be older because I'm going to have so much freedom and I can go to bed past 9 o'clock. I can start going to bed at 11 o'clock with my parents. And then sooner or later, you realize that, when you get older, you start forming these ideas that you were told as a kid but didn't really give a lot of attention to. And that's, that's what has a lot to do with like bad mindset. When you like stick with these notions that you were told as a kid, and then you stick to the idea of maybe I'm not good at math because I raised my hand during that math class and that teacher embarrassed me that one time. These things follow you until you're an adult. And the big leap, that's it right there. That is what addresses a lot of the problems from, things that stem from childhood, things that you might have developed as an adult. Yeah. But then you realize that you are in control of all of these things. And you can really, you can change your mindset. Your mindset is malleable. And
definitely. My mindset has drastically shifted since April, since joining SFS Elite. I was like, I'm here to learn marketing and e-commerce. They're like, no, fuck off. You're here to learn how to like think properly first. Oh, okay, sure. My room looked like a dumpster fire before I joined SFS Elite. The first thing that Suzanne did was like, fix your room, make it look like, livable, like a, adult lives here. I was like, all right. And then CJ is like kicking my ass left and right. It's like, hey, you're not suck, metal up. And I was like, all right, getting enough of that, in your head, and then really starting to like meditate every day now for 4th week in a row, like doing a little bit of workout, breathing exercises. Like my mental health has been better than ever. I'm more motivated. I just find time passes slower and slower, and I'm able to like control and compartmentalize different tasks throughout the day. And, reading books instead of like watching Netflix for 16 hours. Like I will do it when a new anime comes out, like Baki came out and I just marathoned the entire thing in one night. Sure, I'll do that. But, also like reading books and just like having personal improvement, taking the time to get back to our friends, our colleagues, our, bandmates and all that, just making sure everyone's okay. You get so much back because you have well wishes from everyone. At the same time, you're able to like really focus and, get things done. And I just been feeling like, I'm on fire. Like
Literally. Your heart is on fire. That's how you got to feel all the time, though. Like, when I wake up in the morning, I got to tell myself, you know what, today we're going to go out there, we're going to kick some ass, we're going to take no prisoners, because your heart has to be on fire, and that is how you're going to get things done. You got to have, there's mindset, there's motivation that goes into these things, and then there's methods too. And that's in another book that I'm reading right now. It's called Limitless by Jim Quick, and it is amazingly mind-blowing.
Read that next. Yeah.
The amount of things that you'll learn and just the way your brain works. And it's like the big leap, but the other side of the big leap, where there are methods and there are tips in there and instructions on what you can do right now to start working towards what you want to get done today and what you're going to do in the future. And, it's so important to, be aware of those things, be aware of yourself, be aware of the people around you and how you're going to impact other people around you with, what you're bringing out from, your own feeling, man. Because at the end of the day, you create your atmosphere, you create the world around you. You can't physically be outside of your own brain. I can't live the life of this cell phone right now. I only live what's in here.
Exactly.
And I need to make what's in here habitable and very, and in a place where I can, be more than just content with my life. I want to make it abundant and full and constantly going after those next little.
It's so important to do that.
Yeah. And those things will motivate you. And when you see, and like CJ says, and I listen to his podcast all the time. Oh, yeah. I look at his videos every morning, and I love his stuff in the Savvy Musician group that we're part of.
Me too. And, anytime I'm feeling down, I'm like, I need to kick my ass. I'm going to listen to one of his podcasts.
Yeah, he's amazing. I love his tone of voice, the way that he just tells you, this is how it's got to get done.
It's like being metalheads.
Are you going to be here or are you going to go there?
Exactly.
It's up to you. And I love it.
We're both metalheads. We're both metalheads at the end of the day, and like having a metal motivator, just like, kind of like, not like bitch slap you when you're not thinking straight. It's like, yes. Thanks. I'll take it. I'll take those Ric Flair, chops.
Woo!
Yeah, I'll take those gladly, because those will help me and get ahead and keep going. Because we artists, like, it's so hard to, like, first of all, make a living doing this. Well, it's not hard once you get things going, but it's so hard to start it up. It's like a startup business. It's like, fuck, I want to do this awkward thing called apocalyptic black metal, and you want to do this crazy thing called dark fantasy metal. What the hell is that? Who knows? I don't know. Like, it's our job to like make it into something magical, special, something personal, and like at the same time letting other people enjoy it, relate to it, and relate back to them through our work. And it's really cool how you can do that in these day and age from like your bedroom. Like, we're talking to each other from our fucking bedrooms right now. And, writing, selling music, like playing on online streams, like doing all this stuff with no shows, everything shut down. I cannot wait till things open up and we can do even more. But even with everything shut down, it's really awesome how we can just do whatever. And it's like available to us, it's really inspiring to see it that way and be there for each other so we can keep motivating, pushing each other's buttons, like, keep going,
100%, man. And, Leah and CJ say this a lot on the Savvy Musician podcast, that we're living in the best time for the music industry right now. And that's going to sound kind of crazy to somebody who's listening to this right now and has not been part of the Savvy Musician Academy. Mm-hmm. But this really is, if you really think about it, the best time in the music industry. Not because, and this is why, because the internet reaches more people than a small show can, and that's the reality. I can reach thousands and thousands of people based on the interest alone that our band has, than being in a small venue of 20 people. But that's not to say that shows don't have value. They do. They 100% do. Because you can create that personal connection with your fans once you've developed that relationship with them online. Mm-hmm. Because the show is the cherry on top.
Yep. The show comes last, not first. I noticed, like, even like Astaroth Incarnate is my first band, and Blood of Indigo is your first band. So it's, that's like, I was like, oh, this would be cool to talk to each other, and you had me on your radio show
Yeah.
105 like 5 FM, and we've done like an Instagram live before that was fun. But I was trying to set something like this up where we could really do a podcast that's just like broadcasted, and we can also like we're Canadian and we're proud of where we come from. We're proud of our culture, metal, the metal society we have here, all the friends we have, different talented artists we have, and it's good to shed some light on our scene.
Absolutely.
And it's I'll eventually want to maybe get guests involved from anywhere, but it's really nice to start local and like shed some light on what we have here in Canada. And then I would gladly want to connect with anyone else, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to connect to like the world, and they'll connect back to us. And the more effort we put into it, the more we're just going to be given back on our efforts.
100%, man. And I think that the Toronto metal scene has some of the best musicians in the entire country. We have so much talent in just one small part of Canada. And going to one of these local shows is magical. And one of those shows that I want to bring up is the last show that I saw you guys at was with Age of Athena. And I think...
in London.
Yeah, it was with Nathan's other band, Age of Athena. And you guys killed it. And that was in London. And even before that as well, when it was Lindsay's debut show for Martyr, that was a magical show. That was an amazing show.
That was probably my favorite show I've ever played, just because like of how much she means to me, and like us both doing our CD releases together, and then her having me join her on stage. I was just like, I can't handle my emotions right now. Just need to calm the fuck down. And this is too much. And there was like the whole venue was almost full. I was just like, what is happening? This is crazy. And it was after not playing a show for like a year. And we took the time to like add live keyboards and, have new keyboards to our music. Have like Spencer doing orchestration and having all these live, having choirs, having like extra performers on stage, like choreographed, like, performance, and then having extra guests joining us on stage. That was like a massive step up for me. So that took so much preparation, and it felt so good to just take a year off shows and just play a meaningful show. That's like, I think what you're saying is like, when you remember a show, it's like you want to remember something special from the show. We go see the same bands thousands of times, no problem, because we love them. But when they do something special, it sticks with us. And, it's not just the live stage. Yes, live performance matters, but also the interaction. Like, if you get to, see your favorite band and then you get to say 2 words to them, it's just like, oh, that was amazing. Little things like that. Just getting them to, like, sign stuff at your merch booth, or just, like, having an interview, or tiny things like that really make things memorable. And, I can't wait to, like, things open up and me and we both like have our albums and stuff ready, and we get to play shows, and it's gonna be awesome, man.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. The first Blood of Indigo show and my first performance in a band. That'll be my first time performing live in a band, because my experience from performing live comes from emceeing shows and radio and voice acting and all of those things, and I've done speeches for weddings and funerals and that kind of thing. So
that's amazing. That's such a diverse background. Being into wrestling
and
creates
wrestling
such a strong voice. And I grew up with wrestling too, not doing the voice like you do, which makes you really good at just projection of voice. And then doing the radio stuff makes it even better. And you're doing live weddings and stuff like that. So you're like primed. Like, you may think like, oh, I've never played a show. No, we played tons of shows. All your radio podcasts, all the time you were yelling at the TV, because your favorite wrestler lost, or something that happened and made you exercise your vocal skills, all count. And it's going to translate, and it should translate, and that will make you that much better live and separate you from other people.
100%, man. I'm a big fan of performance psychology. And that is what wrestling is. And we all know wrestling is a work. And what I mean by that is that it's predetermined. It's been set up a certain way to make it look real. Performers are not trying to hurt each other for real, but they're trying to make it. They're trying to make you lose yourself in the performance to make you believe that what you're seeing is real.
Exactly.
And that's the magic of it. And that's what I love so much about wrestling. You know, who wins at this point? You know, I'm looking at the performance. I'm like, let's see how well this guy can make. Like when I watch one of Undertaker's matches, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25 was one of the greatest matches I've ever seen because it looked real. The drama was real, the storytelling, the moments, and it's all about the moments.
Yeah,
those are the things that I think about when it comes to performing a show. When that time comes, or when I make a speech or MC a show, I always think about those moments, the timing, the way that you say things, the way you look at that audience, the way you have laser vision that you look at them.
Yeah.
You know, those facial expressions, the way you say things, the way you feel things, the way you talk to the people. When you say those things, every little
very
thing
important. It's so important because it's like drama and acting at the same time as like choreographed performance. If you think about it, it's a lot like music in a way. We all write our music, and I could just get up there and, you know, look like I woke up from my bed and go play a show. Or I could, like, you know, transform like fucking Dragon Ball Z and be like, hey, you know, I'm here and this is not even my final form, but this is pretty close and you're going to have to deal with it now. And then have, like, the whole crowd, like, mosh and go nuts over you. And then you get to chit-chat with everybody. Like, I can't think of a better, more fun activity as being a singer, you know? We're talking about doing vocalists, so I think since this episode's about vocals, let's get into some vocal details. That should be fun. Yeah, like, I'm going to ask, let's ask questions for other people. Anyone watching, you guys can ask us questions that are not in our, you know, little bubble of questions, and we'll gladly answer to you. In the meantime, we have a little, you know, script written down, so we'll try to, like, go through our, you know, bands and vocals and influences and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about how did we get into doing vocals and who are our current top 5 vocalists. For me, right now, it's Kyo from Durham Gray. They're a Japanese visual K band. Attila from Mayhem. Everyone knows Mayhem. If you don't, then you should check them out. They're like the legendary black metal band. Also, I've been really into Ghostmane. He's like a post-genre artist. He mixes I don't know how many genres, and he's nuts. And I've been obsessed with him since last year. Also, Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation. He's just insane for extreme metal vocals. He's actually really good at clean vocals for anyone that has heard his other work. And he's just a phenomenal vocalist. I just put up a cover for one of their songs, Bring Back the Plague. And I got a message back from him, and I lost my shit. I was like, wow, dude, you're so fucking real. Yeah, I was speechless. Such a cool dude. And I've also been really getting into industrial gothic stuff, and then for that, I really like Chris Harms from Lord of the Lost. His singing range and screams are just solid, and in a mid-pace range, but it's just super solid. And yeah, it's just... I got into do vocals back when I was like 15, actually, singing like back home, like not country, like folk rock music, you know. Then getting into like moving to Canada in 2000, getting into rap, getting into R&B, reggae, and then eventually rock, hard rock, metal, extreme metal, and then it's like, you know, like a mixture of whatever the hell goes in my head now. And yeah, I love metal. It's my favorite genre, but anything goes, you know. I think any genre can be good if you put your heart and soul into it. So yeah, what are your, how did you get into doing vocals, and who are your current top 5 vocalists, Alex?
So, funny thing about how I got into vocals is I started with piano. I started playing piano when I was like 5 or 6 years old, I think. It was originally like an after-school program thing where my mom was like, here, sign up for piano lessons, have fun. And me and my sister did it together. And I got to Royal Conservatory Level 2 in piano, and then eventually I started doing competitive swimming, and then that was when that sort of took over most of my life, and I was like, all right, well, I got to do swimming. So I was doing competitive swimming training. I was on the swim team the swim team in high school, and then later after high school, excuse me, I ended up getting into I got it. I thought to myself, you know what? My whole life, I've been an entertainer. I've always loved the spotlight. I've always loved moving people, inspiring people, making people excited, getting people turned up to 11. And my idea was, I have two options here. I'm either going to be a rock star or I'm going to be a wrestler. Oh, yeah. And my mom was like, there is no fucking way you're being a wrestler. So this is what happened. I ended up I ended up taking a year off, and I volunteered at a wrestling school. And my mom was like, oh, here we go. And I was helping them set up the wrestling ring. And being surrounded by the wrestlers, I was like, you know what? I was taking some bumps. I was running the ropes. I was meeting like former WWE wrestlers, some who are now current WWE wrestlers. Mm-hmm. And, I got to know the scene a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to hurt myself, because doing some of this athletic stuff, you're going to destroy your body. I don't really think I can do this. And, I was like, all right. But you know what? Here's something I know about myself. I'm an entertainer. I love to talk. I love to get people excited. And I do know about myself that, I want to be able to move people in some sort of way. And my favorite part of wrestling was always the trash talking, was always the entrances, the glamour of the entrance music, where the guy comes out to, where Triple H comes out to Motorhead's the game.
It's time to play the game!
Time to play the game!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was so into that. And, I was so drawn to these big, larger-than-life characters, and I was like, I have to be something like this one day. So that was when I got into radio. And I started working at Vibe 105 at the time. It was called CHRY Radio, and it still is. It's a community radio and commercial radio hybrid at this time now, but before it was just a community radio station, and I was in there. I asked to volunteer. I did a high school co-op there, and that was when I pitched my show, The Rush, and I started doing a metal show. And I always loved the metal music from watching wrestling. And that was, to be honest, I was playing wrestling music in the first, couple of months of being there because it was like my dream to play, Triple H's entrance theme music on the radio. It was like, yeah, isn't that so cool? The 5 people who are listening to this and getting my esoteric interests. And then, the program director was like, yeah, but I know there are more songs than wrestling songs. Can you name me 5 Canadian artists? And I was struggling to name 5 Canadian artists at the time. I was like, Drake. So then I was like, and Green Day.
Not bad.
And I was like, okay, well, and I was like, I know a lot of American metal bands. I know Pantera. I know Metallica. I know Motorhead. These are all bands that were what I would consider entry-level bands at the time. I was in my late teens when I started in radio. I was 18 years old. Mm-hmm. And from there, that was when I started going down the rabbit hole of all the subgenres. And I was like, okay, so, there's death metal, there's black metal, there's thrash metal, there's heavy metal, which is a subgenre. There's, thousands of subgenres. And I was so interested in that because I was like, wow. There's a bunch of different subgenres in metal. And I never knew that before. And then I started going further and further down the rabbit hole, discovering more and more bands. And when I discovered symphonic metal, which was Epica was my first symphonic metal band, I was blown away by the orchestrations and how it sounded like a video game. Because that had always been part of me to love video games, to love music. And I was and when I was a kid, I always loved the Bowser level music because it was so evil and so scary.
Video game music did it for me. Being a pro gamer, going up and just having a Game Boy since I was 5, sticking with Genesis at 8, that really got me to love music because I always listened to OSTs. Those are original soundtracks, and I listened to I would play a game and then go on the internet and download the whole fucking soundtrack and just listen to all the songs. I've hundreds and hundreds.
100%, man. I listen to video game score all the time. I listen to music from Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sonic Adventure 2, Mario 64, which is, the score is okay on that one, but
I just finished God of War, the new God of War, and oh my god, the music is beautiful. It's so detailed and fucking great when you're playing. It's climaxing, and we're both into we both love classical music as well as metal, and we're both really into orchestrations. Spencer does all your orchestration. Nathan does all your orchestration.
Yeah.
Spencer does all my orchestration, and it's really cool to see like these talented people just like create a layer and like a huge bubble of atmosphere on top of what we do as vocalists. Like I can layer myself and do different things. I've been doing harsh vocals, clean vocals, this, that, Gregorian chanting, but having an orchestrator can now add so much more, and it's really cool to see how other genres really draw.
100%, man. It gives it like a whole other level of depth, because you start with the guitar, bass, and drums, which is already huge. And then suddenly when you add the orchestrations, it gives it a feeling. Similar to how when you watch movies or you play video games, the music is giving you an even deeper feeling than what you already had, initially. And depending on what music it is, even like, with your standard drum, bass, and guitar and vocals, you can still tell a great story. But then when you add the orchestrations, now you have a whole other layer of, whether it be fantasy or whether it be whatever you want, whatever story you want to tell, the more you add, the more interesting it gets.
Oh yeah.
And,
who would you say your top 5 vocalists are?
So I would say definitely Ben Dewar from Shadow of Intent. That guy is a monster.
Solid.
That guy's a monster. Nathan got me into them a couple of months ago, and when I heard that guy's vocals, like his low vocals and even his highs too, oh man.
Super dry. He's a really dry vocalist. I believe he uses false chords and really powerful.
Yeah, he's very breathy and monstrous and big, and it's got this feeling to it that is just dangerous and threatening. And that's what you want in metal. You want something that sounds dangerous, something that sounds big and monstrous, grotesque. That is what Ben is able to do. I can't go on this list without mentioning Angela Gosso, because she was my first death metal inspired vocalist.
She's my death metal mom.
She's my death metal mom too.
I learned a lot of vocals.
That's why we're brothers. Just her vocals are vicious. Like her vocals are vicious. It sounds like there's like a Tasmanian devil that needs to come out of the box, and you're just like, and you're just like, oh man, when I heard her vocals the first time, that was what inspired me to do that style. Because when I was getting into vocals, Lindsay Schoolcraft was like, 100%, you can do this. You can 100% do this. You have the grit. You have the passion. You can do this. And this was when I was in radio at a time where I wasn't sure what my next path was going to be.
Yeah.
And when she told me, you can do vocals, you can do music, you got this, I said, that's what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to become a rock star like I said I was going to do.
Oh, hell yeah, man. It's like you can really do what you plan out to do if you just put the effort into it. It's not impossible. So you got Angela, you got vocals of Shadow of Intent.
Next, I would probably have to say Tatiana from Ginger. She is awesome.
Nice. Yeah, she's like at the top of fucking female metal.
Dude, like her
showing everyone.
Like, and I love diction. Like I love when you can enunciate so well that I can hear everything you're saying, and I know exactly what you're trying to tell me, and you use the words in the right way to tell a perfect story. That's what Tatiana does. Not only that, but she's also a beautiful, clean vocalist too.
Yeah,
and
that's what really pushed her like into stardom. Because her diversity, and I saw her live, and I was like, not sold on her until I saw her live, because I was like, this is too good.
This is too perfect. There has to be some sort of I saw them got in corners.
I saw them opening for Cradle, and I was just floored. I was like, fucking retarded. This is every transition spot on. This is unfair.
Yeah, She's definitely has the pacing, the timing, the diction, the enunciation, the pronunciation. Those are things that, they teach you in voice acting. When the first time I went in the studio, I was very like, well, all right, so what do you guys need me to voice today? They were just like, okay, first thing, open your mouth when you speak. And I was like, but I am opening my mouth. And they were just like, no, you're not aware of what you're saying right now. You're not looking at, and you got to bring the words off the page. Because I find that like, the way that we get, as vocalists can very easily like look at the words and the lyrics and say, we're just trying to fill time.
Yeah.
But when you believe in your words, when you believe in what you're saying, you sound different when you talk like that. When you read an ad for a commercial or you're becoming a character in voice acting, You are becoming the emotions. You have to go like on when you pop that mic open, and when the spotlight's on you, you got to show up. When you give it 150%, if that character that you're portraying is angry, you got to be fucking angry for real.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like
you can make your eyeballs pop out of your head like that.
A lot of times when I'm like in costume or not even in costume, and I'm just like making giant fucking crazy faces, and they're like, yeah, what are all these like faces? I was like, yes, these are just metal faces, but they're also very important to pronounce everything as good as possible. Just like you guys can see Alex doing. He's a master of many faces.
Exactly. And you have the facial expressions down, man, and that's part of it too. That's part of the performance. Not only do you get the sound, you get the look.
Well, thanks. It gets the look out, and also like it's not just like that for no reason. Like I'm actually making those faces because I feel like I'm actually like living and breathing those words at the time when I'm saying it, and it just lets me embody the character and really like just portray myself, like put myself out there, and no holds barred, just like you get it or you don't.
100%. That's how it goes. With metal vocals too. It's because here's the thing. Like they say in metal there are no rules.
No, absolutely not.
There are no rules. You can write about anything you want. You can say anything you want, and you can say it in any way that you want. But all that matters is that you say it with conviction, and that you say it with passion, and you say it with clear vision. You have to be genuine in what you're saying, because that's what metal is. It's walking on stage naked with no clothes on and say, here I am. Melissa Cross said that to me once.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay, I'm wearing your shirt. Woo! So, and I had a conversation with Melissa Cross, the vocal teacher, and I asked her, what advice would you give to an up-and-coming vocalist like myself? And she said, go on stage naked, no clothes on, no holds barred. And that's what Corey Taylor does, who's one of my other favorites of all time, because just
is that your number 4? Because you're at 4
He's
now.
my number 4, Corey Taylor.
Right.
Because Corey Taylor says everything, and he means it. And that's going to be me.
This is don't be naked on stage.
Don't be naked on stage.
Well, really like, I think she knows what you're talking about, but that's just too funny. Don't be naked.
A good kind,
next level outfit.
As long as nobody has cameras, nobody's taking pictures, we're good.
Lindsay just got nominated for the JUNOs, and along with her producer Tyler and her orchestrator Spencer. And it was really awesome. We were watching the JUNO Awards yesterday, so it's really nice that Lindsay's joining us. That's vulnerability. She said that's vulnerability. Yeah,
I think that vulnerability is, and it's so important to and the thing is, a lot of us are afraid to be vulnerable because we've been burned in the past, or you might have had an experience where, or maybe you didn't have an experience. Maybe it's on the other side of fear, where you're dealing with the unknown, and you say, what if I go out there, I put myself out there for real, and everybody laughs at me and says, who does this guy think he is? Everybody's so afraid of hearing those words, because maybe as a kid we experienced that. There was a time I was a kid when I experienced that. Let me tell you right now. There was this one time I was in class, and the teacher said, raise your hand if you know what the capital of Canada is, and you get a lollipop if you get it right. I raised my hand, and I said, Ottawa, with pride and conviction. And I said, it's Ottawa, and I know it, and I'm going to get that green lollipop because it's my favorite color. And then you know what the teacher said? Alex, congratulations. You've earned yourself a lollipop. And I said, yes! Like that.
Hell yeah,
she said, Alex, take your seat, sit down. That's called gloating. You're not getting that lollipop. And I felt so much shame in my heart when she told me that.
Absolutely.
And that stuck with me. But then you know what happened? You know what happened, Sam? I looked deep inside myself and I said, you know what? We're not going to take that shit anymore. We're not going to be afraid to be ourselves. We're not going to be afraid to walk out there and take no prisoners. Watching all my favorite wrestlers on TV growing up, they taught me to be yourself at 11. All day, every day.
Definitely.
And be 100%. That when you watch people on stage, when I watch Corey Taylor on stage and you see tears coming from his eye, I have a tear coming from my eye when I watch that. And I see that performance, that realness. That is
it can really, once you feel that, it really means everything to do what we do, because we wouldn't have the passion and energy to do this if we didn't have that. We would shut down, and it takes a lot to just keep going, and we need the fan support, we need the friends and each other's support. Otherwise, we will shut down and not do anything. We have our buddy Lucas from Solaris joining us.
Hey,
really cool.
Lucas!
I know you're friends with them. And yeah, you put their album as your most listened to album last year, I believe.
Dude, Solaris is amazing. Those guys are so good. Lucas is such a talented guitarist, and and when I saw them play that show with the Agonist, I was looking at the way they were playing, the way that they were putting themselves out there, and that was real. And Lucas is a wrestling fan too, and they were putting themselves out there for real, giving it 150%. And that is my motto in life: give it a 150%. Take no prisoners, and don't take shit from anybody. Be yourself. Walk out there and be the best. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo! As Ric Flair would say.
Absolutely, man. And, that's perfect. So you got 4. Who's your last number 5? This is a tough spot because you only got one more pick.
One more pick.
Oh,
so
boy.
I wrote this down. So my number 5 for my 5th favorite vocalist is Dennis from Karach on Gren.
Oh my god! Perfect pick. Oh,
he's so good. He's so good.
With their new album,
my style on the Blood of Indigo album, as a matter of fact, in my high sections, or my more black metal influenced sections. I took those elements of and his storytelling is phenomenal.
Storytelling, yeah, it's just I've been obsessed with I own all their albums. I gotta order the new one. Their new album is just so fun to listen to, so creative and very experimental. There's a lot of clean vocals. There's passages. There's singing. When he's just Frankensteiner, Stradae Montanus. Oh my god, that song! Oh, that song I cannot get over. I played that song. I played the whole album, and then I played that song more than 10 times in a row. I was like, this is too much. I can't stop listening to it.
Dude, he's so good. And his little monologue moments where he comes in, he starts talking like this a little bit, and he comes in, he wants to tell you a story about something that's disgusting.
Yeah.
No! Wait. Yo! The transition from high to low.
Yeah.
I am Karach on Gren style block metal vocals kind of like this.
That's very actually influenced by Sergo, I would say.
Yeah.
I sort of take this sort of block metal voice in the Blood of Indigo voice. We kinda goes like this.
And then my Ben Dewar side with the Shadow of Intent stuff is
I am left behind. All that I know and all that I am. This is the Blood of Indigo style. Something that sounds a little bit more like this. Oh.
There you go, guys. You got an awesome performance from Alex from Blood of Indigo for vocals. Fantastic job, man. Yeah, those are great vocals. I noticed the change from change in your highs from wet to dry when you switched from Shadow of Intent to Karakangren. It goes dry, wet to dry, and then Shadow of Intent also uses on the lows very false chords style, powerful lows. When I do lows, it's kind of like Frank Mullen from Suffocation, and I can use power, but Frank Mullen from Suffocation or Travis Ryan from Cattle, and they use guttural styles in a very technique-based way, because I have breathing issues actually. I have asthma, bronchitis issues, so I can't actually just put out that much force and perform live. So I had to just develop techniques where I was able to get guttural ranges without actually exerting too much force. So doing stuff stuff like that. I'm mostly just speaking, and even for highs, I used to use a lot of power for highs, guys from Dark Funeral and stuff like that. I use a lot of power, and then I kind of learned to tone down and just expand on my range. So when I'm doing highs, when I'm doing highs, not really. It sounds like I'm using a lot of power, but it's more control and precision for my delivery, and it's really cool to see your style really. You excel at your style really well. You have a lot of like strength when you have vocal delivery, so it's really cool to see. Something I actually lack at, which I compensate for, just like in technique, and I'll just like mess with my mic settings and just make sure that it sounds big and powerful and layered and all that stuff. But yeah, it's really cool to see different vocal styles and how to how we do them, and I can hear like the different nuances. We have some like people joining and commenting. So
what's everybody saying? You guys got questions?
Oh, this is great. Bring your Nathan said, "Being your true self is definitely the most important aspect of being a vocalist." Absolutely, you need to be like that, and musician in general, of course. Jeremy said, "That's one of the reasons I love watching Behemoth play." Nergal just puts it all out there. Oh my God, I was at the George Strombolopoulos. He was hosting the Junos yesterday, and I was at his house, and Behemoth did like a fucking private stream on like in his house, and we had to all show up in corpse paint. I got to see them from like 2 feet away, and he spat blood on my face, and I was like, I am so happy. Fuck yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. I saw them the day after again, headline like the Phoenix or something, but yeah, that was just amazing experience. Behemoth's absolutely killing it right now. Lindsay, Dennis is an artist through and through, so inspiring on stage. Lindsay, you're absolutely right. It's really awesome to see how precise Dennis or Saragor is on stage. He makes all of his own masks, and he actually sells them, which is really awesome. That's like his side gig. And at the same time, he's like the lyrical, thematic mastermind. And every time I've seen them live, his performance gets more and more crazy. Like Ardek had a moving keyboard that was like possessed, and he was like able to move and play it at the same time. And Saragor's on point with like every hand motion, like faces. And when he like cuts open the mannequin and just drinks the blood out of her neck all the way down to her vagina. Oh boy. Yeah, when he did that, he was just like licking a mannequin's fucking vagina in front of everyone, and then turn around and then again spat all over the crowd. And of course, that was in the front row, so I got spat. It's something to do with me spitting blood on people's faces and people spitting blood on my face. I don't know. Maybe a demonic problem. Who knows?
Always interesting.
Yeah, your band name.
Blood is in. That's why it's in the band name. At first, I was like, dude, like blood is the scariest thing ever, and it's visually the coolest thing. And like the blood, so Blood of Indigo, the name itself is I've mentioned. I think I mentioned to you offline that that Blood of Indigo is the name because of the story, because there are story elements that are fictional storytelling elements that I've included into the Blood of Indigo concept. So there's going to be a series of graphic novels and audiobooks that are going to be with it too, to use my voice acting and Nathan's amazing ability to do orchestrations to tell the story of some of the stories behind the songs and just deeper lore. Because I love video games. What can I say? And I love good story. And I'm a creative writer as well, aside from being a vocalist. So that's part of it.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely awesome. Jeremy said there is so many people who do not realize how hard it is to do vocals for black metal and death metal. Absolutely. I've been doing this style, like I self-taught myself how to do hard vocals since I was 20. I'm 34 now. It's taken 14 years to learn everything I've learned. And 5 years before that, I just sang other styles for fun. But yeah, it's really hard to maintain, especially when you're doing transitions. It's a bitch to make sure your voice is staying on key, like you don't go out of tune. Yeah, and also is that for high vocals, it's really hard to reach King Diamond's range. Well, nobody can reach King Diamond's range, okay? He's a legend, and we all love him, and we'll just let him be King Diamond, because I'm not going to attempt King Diamond, and it's just not going to even...
Just gotta do you, man. Yeah. Whatever you have is what you work with.
I have seen the King 3 times, and every time is a different story. But we got some. It's 8 o'clock actually. This is crazy. This has been an hour and it hasn't felt like a minute. It's been awesome.
It felt like it was 5 seconds.
we got a few other topics, guys. It's really awesome. Thank you all for tuning in. This is the first episode of Hour of the Demon. I'm your host, Sam Astaroth, and I got my buddy Alex here. I'm going to be doing this every week. And, this week I moved my show to Tuesday because yesterday was the JUNOs. And next week I'm going to actually back on Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time with my buddy Dylan from Iremare. And we're actually hitting the studio for our second album, so I'm going to feature Dylan and, talk about my band and bandmates and what's happening. And I'm hitting the studio the day after doing that podcast on Tuesday. So I'm going to be updating you guys, and we might even release a playthrough video on that Friday. As for releases, as you know, I released a playthrough video of Cattle Decapitation last Friday called Bring Back the Plague. I got great responses. Thank you all so much. It means so much to me. This Friday, actually, I put up a poll on requesting Astaroth Incarnate fans on which song you wanted to see me do a vocal playthrough of, and you guys picked Curse of the Black Plague. So on Friday, I'm going to be releasing that. That's this Friday on the Astaroth Incarnate channel. So be on the lookout for that. It was one of the hardest songs ever that I wrote. It was stupid. I shouldn't have done it, but it was ridiculously hard. I had no breathing room, but I did it anyway. So it's fun to do it, and I can't wait to show you guys the video. We got a couple other questions. Kim joined us. Hey Kim, how's it going? She's actually being a good friend and helping me with some meditation and mindfulness. So it's really awesome.
Amazing.
To have her support. A couple other topics, bro. Like various styles and vocal techniques we use and how we create those sounds. As for me, like aside from getting a few vocal lessons from Lindsay and getting some of the training from Melissa Cross's. It's right here, actually. Yeah. Screaming, and I got one vocal lesson from Veronica from Flesh God. I've mostly just taught myself vocals. I don't know any theory. I don't even play any instruments, so everything is just feeling and whatever feels right. I don't really care if I'm accurate. It's more about how it feels. If it feels good, I'm going to do it. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, then you don't. I'm very honest in my vocal styles, whether it's, a lot of people know me for doing harsh vocals mostly, but I've also done a variety of other styles like singing, rapping, screaming, and a variety of things. And the new Astaroth Incarnate stuff and Iremare album and some guest features I have coming up with some of my friends from around here. I get to do a variety of things, and that's why I started doing vocal covers again, just to kind of, not let other skills kind of get rusty and not get enough practice. So I just want to encompass all my skills and keep improving on them. And I feel like since I do nothing musically besides vocals, I want to be the best vocalist I possibly can be. I constantly strive to improve. What about you, Alex?
I think so. So in terms of theory, I know a very tiny bit of theory because of piano lessons. So I used to be better at piano than I am now because I was practicing regularly. Excuse me, I might need to get some water.
I got my water right.
Damn, thinking ahead of the game, man. So yeah, I know a bit of theory. I don't really use it for my vocals because growling is you're working with 3 ranges. So you have high, you have mid, you have low, and you have transitions. Then you have character voices. Then you have dynamics, and you have nuances, and you have feeling. And, excuse me. So you work with those things. And, when it comes to lyrics and vocals and all of that stuff, I just want to make sure that I'm giving people a good story. And the way that I tell my story is in a few different ways. I tell the story through the way that my voice sounds. So what voice I choose to use is one of those things. So am I going to go for the low,
monstrous voice would I sound like a big golem monster? Bah!
And that's for one of the songs, Sphinx Collector of Eyes, which is about a big monster. I went for a big, low, monstrous sound.
Yeah, it's so important to embody the character when you're doing it.
Yeah, and then for a song like Anne-Marie Indigo, which is about a 10 foot tall demon lady who has her true form as a giant mosquito monster. Spoiler alert. She her vocals are the vocals for that song I predominantly put in high because it sounds shrieky.
It sounds kind of shrieky and monstrous. And then I kind of go to the block metal voice sometimes.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. And it really shows your character when you're doing it. We got a question from Jeremy. A lot of similarities to what Mortis is like. Mortis is a black metal solo artist. He has like solo black metal projects. It's really weird and atmospheric. It's really cool if you're not like used to the traditional stuff. It's not really traditional, so it's going to throw you off a little bit. But yeah, he's really talented. Being from Emperor to his Dark Dungeon to industrial sounds, his vocals have improved and changed as his vocal albums were recorded. Yeah, absolutely right. It's really cool to, evolve yourself, and like as we both keep doing this, our styles are gonna get more and more redefined. We're going to get better at things. Things are going to become easier. Transitions are going to become easier. And at that point, you want to push yourself to do new things and new exciting things and learn new techniques, learn little nuances of techniques you already know. It's really cool to keep going and keep learning and not get bored. It's like if you stop learning, then you'd be like, okay, I learned everything already. So now what?
Yeah.
It's so important that you keep pushing yourself always to keep improving. There's no you cannot ever be the best. If you see in Dragon Ball Z, no matter how good Goku gets, somebody comes and kicks his ass, and then Vegeta gets better, and then Goku gets even better. There's always another mountain to climb. So no matter how good you are, anyone watching any vocals, you can never be as good as you possibly could be.
There's always something to learn. And even styles that you might not necessarily use for your project, like the deathcore vocals, which I learned, where you stick your tongue out.
This is what happens, guys, when you get a vocalist episode, okay? You get awkward inhales, exhales. Yeah, we make weird sounds. We have problems, okay? Deal with it.
Yeah, that's it.
Pieces too.
All the guitarists are busy, tuning their guitars all the time, looking at vocalists in the corner with the mic going, "Ah!" And they're just like, what's wrong with that guy? Why
are you doing all these weird hand and neck and mouth motions? This is called warming up. Every time I'm in the washroom, warming up, people are awkward sounds, weird faces. Well,
the most pleasant thing to walk into is a guy in the washroom screaming at his reflection.
Getting myself backed up you can do this. And it's being a lifelong learner is always the best mindset to take as a musician. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can never, even if you're the best today, tomorrow you may not be the best anymore, and you should improve more. There's no limit. That's why I always visit older stuff like Possessed or even cleaner vocals like Anvil. Hey man, Anvil is actually hosting a live gig. I just noticed Heavy Montreal is putting up a live concert that Anvil is putting out. Anvil's Canadian legends. Can't go wrong with them. Possessed, one of the classic death metal bands, one of the first death metal bands. If you haven't seen them live, you got to check them out. The vocalist, if you know who I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. He's phenomenal for his current condition. He's still killing it, being on a wheelchair and all that. So it's awesome. Just being influenced by so many different things. We're gonna wrap it up shortly, guys. It's been over an hour, so there's I guess we're being vocalists. We also think about themes. There's last thing I wanted to kind of touch on is themes, lyrics, visuals and presentations. This may not sound what does this have to do with vocals? But vocals is not just singing or screaming or rapping or whatever. Vocals is coming from the person. It's the person's output. I don't need an instrument to do vocals. I'm doing vocals right now. Whatever's in my head comes out of my mouth, and you hear it. It's very simple, and you can connect that with themes, lyrics, whatever's in your heart, write it, sing it. Whatever's in your mind, think about it, speak it. So it's really nice being a vocalist and being able to connect to fans and friends and colleagues and so many other people through words. Words are powerful. You know, do not ever let your words mean nothing. You know, think before you speak. The things you say may hurt somebody, may change their lives for the better. You know, you want your words to be positively impacting people, and it's going to impact you positively as well, because it'll be a positive reinforcement in your mind to speak positively to yourself and to others. And, you know, doing this art and music and stuff like that as a lifestyle, I've been, you know, since I've been a kid, I've been really into just drawing really dark, weird things, like drawing demons and eating babies and all this shit since I was like 4. And, you know, I grew up in Bangladesh. Like, my parents were Muslim. I'm not religious, but my parents were Muslim. They tried exercising me and all that shit because they were like, oh my God, my son is possessed. I was like, no, this is just fun. You know? And then, like, that inspired me to look into TV shows, video games, comic books, anime, stuff like that, all of these darker themed art. And I know you can relate, Alex, for that. It's like very dark themed fantasy, realism, like whether it is, as long as it's dark and it feels empowering in a way. And I put that on like my copy, like, you know, spawn the dark nature within you. It's like not being afraid of the dark. It's not to embrace shitty things. It's to look at shitty things, which may not be shitty things. Sometimes you never know. Sometimes you don't know what's something like unless you face it head on. And facing your darkest, deepest fears and making it work for you. It's gonna get you places you would never thought you could get to. And I try to embody that in my real life, everyday life, in my mindset, who I deal with, and especially when I present myself as an artist. You know, what I look like. I came up with my own character. I'm used to cosplaying and, you know, making original characters, and just made up the Astaroth character. I connect with it. Funny thing, Astaroth's birthday is, like, my birthday is Astaroth's day, so August 16th is related to the demon Astaroth. So he's from the 16th century, and his strongest month against humans is August. Funny. Also, pro gaming days, I've used Astaroth nonstop. I write up on demonology. I connect with a lot of the ideals and morals of the character. It really speaks to me, and it's, you know, I got him fucking tattooed on me. I got the sigil and everything. Like, I live and breathe this character. Not this character. I live and breathe myself, and I connect to this. I feel like a higher form of myself, just being able to have the confidence to kind of like, yes, I'm going to be myself. And whatever that does for you, you know, embrace it. You know, it doesn't have to be a demonic character. It could be like anything that makes you feel good and, you know, wants you to keep pushing and thriving in life. And you want to see it. If you could have a Super Saiyan fucking perfect version of yourself, whatever the hell that look like, be that every day. And you'll, like, be unstoppable. That's how I kind of see this whole theme, you know. I know Alex, you could relate. You want to speak on that, bro?
Yeah, I'm totally on board with you, man. I think that, you know, empowering your inner self is the most important thing that you can do. Because and I mentioned this earlier in your podcast, but when you set your heart on fire and you do everything that you do with passion, then that world is going to reflect all around you. You know, the world is like a big mirror. You know, you do something in front of that mirror, it's going to come back right to you. And that's how audiences work too. If you're fired up and you're energetic and you're ready to go and kick some ass, that audience is going to give it back to you. If you're standing there awkward like a pickle and you're just like, hey guys, so if you want to watch this show, you can. If you don't want to, there's a door over there, and you can step outside and grab a smoke while I perform because I'm too shy. And you know, if you do that, then the audience is going to feel awkward too.
Exactly. It's so important to pay attention. As being frontman, being vocalist, it's so important to pay attention to your audience. If you're shy and you're a frontman, just look at if you're uncomfortable being a frontman or a vocalist or a singer, or, you know, you're uncomfortable getting on camera or speaking to your fans and friends, like, just think of your bubble being impenetrable and nobody's coming into your personal space. You are reaching all of them. and the interaction you get back online or the best times, which is at a live show, it's just, it's irreplaceable. Like, it's an interaction with another human being. What do you give to them? If you give them positive reinforcement, if you tell them their day is going to be great, they're going to tell you that too. And you do that on stage to 100 people, 1,000 people, hundreds of thousands of people. You do that online every day. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a great fucking day every day. You're going to help so many people feel better. And I feel like we could all do that for each other. We got Jeremy saying not to forget Halloween. They're a heavy metal band. Different vocalists have always brought new and exciting feelings in the vocals. Yeah, a lot of bands actually have different vocals, like vocalist switches. Like even Arch Enemy had one vocalist, then Angela Goss was the second vocalist, and now Alyssa was fronting the band, and she was doing a killer job. She kind of revamped the whole band since Angela wanted to take care of the babies and stuff, which is pretty awesome because she's still managing them.
Yeah.
Jeremy also said, Jeremy, thanks for so many comments, man. It's great. It's great feedback. Thanks for everyone for joining. It's really nice to hear all of you. Hopefully we can make your Tuesday night better. Things are looking good. Things are opening up. And I think all of Canada is in phase 2, so we can actually fucking meet up with each other and share a drink, food, I don't know, whatever. You hug. It's nice to, things are looking up. Still be careful because you never know, but it's good. It's really nice to, it's been 4 months almost, but things are looking good, which makes me and anyone else happy, I'm sure. Themes and showmanship always need to be up front if you're a vocalist. You're the one most people have their focus on. Absolutely right, Jeremy. You can totally chime in on that, Alex.
Yeah, the thing about vocalists is that you are the connection between the people, and you are responsible for carrying that weight. That's your job as a vocalist. People make jokes about vocalists and say, oh, he's the vocalist, he carries the least amount of gear, but you know what weight he or she is carrying on their shoulder? The weight of that audience. Because if you're a vocalist, you have to control all these people and make them get excited about what they're seeing.
Yeah.
You are the human connection.
Yeah. One word you say will make them mosh from just staring at you for like 1 second to the next.
Yeah.
Your words, your gaze, your stare, your actions, and everything is so powerful.
Yeah. And, I want to say something about Astaroth Incarnate, because you guys have this ability to make people lose themselves in the performance. You especially, Sam. You are a hell of a performer, no pun intended. When I watched that live stream from, the former Jam Space, that was magical. That was magical. And I use the word magical because I was able to lose myself in the performance, not even being there. And the way that you look at the audience, the way that the guys are performing those instruments are spot on. But you as the vocalist, Sam, with the aesthetic, with the face paint, the dress up, the everything, the vocals, the timing, you got it, man. You got the it factor to make people lose their shit over you. You have the vocalist qualities that people love to see, and that is admirable, man. That is something that's something that not a lot of people can say that they do well, but you do it well. And I will tell you that from one vocalist to another, and as one brother to another brother, man, you are the champion. You are the man. And when I watch your performances every single time, I know that you are that Astaroth character. You're not pretending to be an Astaroth character. You're not saying, I'm going to put on the Astaroth mask today. That's you. I believe that's you when you're on that stage. I believe you are the character. I believe you're going to pull out a scythe and kill somebody on that stage.
I have almost killed people on stage. Thank you so much, brother. That's so nice of you to say. It means a lot. I put everything into my performance. Like, if I died right after I performed, I would die happy. That's how I treat every performance. Like, there's a audience there to watch me, and my job is to entertain them. Like, my life depends on it. And, I do my best to do everything I possibly can at every gig just to make sure anyone watching or even remotely taking interest is it's worth their time. You know, and it comes back. I've had great reactions from people, like, since we started, including like me being your, demon dude, having blood witches and other stuff on stage. That really helped us, being like, when we started out, it was like, we're an extreme metal band, and we're like, we got death metal influences, black metal influences, melodic, thrash, death, grind, and then eventually gothic, doom, symphonic. Like, so many influences. And I was like, all right, well, you know what? Let's name it something, like our own thing. So we named it Apocalyptic Black Metal. And I was like, how do we bring this to life? And I was like, you know what? These songs are about, like, Astaroth songs are about, like, just exploring and accepting and embracing your most extreme form of each of your emotions or thoughts. Like, take them to the max. Don't just like, I'm sad, but I'm not going to do anything about it. And your life will just pass you by. Instead, you could be like, I'm sad. I'm going to be so fucking sad. I'm just going to fucking kick sad's ass and get over it. So I write songs like that. I write songs about hope, despair, life, death, evolution, loneliness, breakups, fucking anti-establishments. I don't even know. So many things. Writing lyrics, being reborn, punishment, 5 stages of grief, 4 stages of possession. Like, all these things I write about, they're different things I've experienced in life. Like, hey, why are you talking about possession? How does it relate to real life? I've been exercised. It's, it didn't work. Can't exercise a real demon. Haha. So, yeah, no, it just, like, growing up in that, like, kind of controlled culture and religion, like, I never really felt at home. I kind of wanted to, I was like, you know what? The definition of a demon is that you do whatever you please and you don't bow to no one. Now, there is no good or bad in that. It's just a definition of yourself. If you think like that, then you feel empowered. So, me feeling like that since I was a kid, I'm gonna, like, I don't care who thinks what. I know I'm a pretty decent person. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. But I'm going to strive to be better and better each day. And if that equals defying and disobeying whoever the fuck that comes in my way, so be it. And I try to stand by that. And many times I fail, but the point is, that's been my motto. And the older I get, the more I try to reinforce that. And, it's just lets me keep going. And it's really nice to, have friends like you and other people just, like, being supportive of what I'm doing, doing this, like, band stuff. Like, who am I, right? I'm just, like, a dude.
That's all everybody is. We're just a bunch of dudes. We're a bunch of people. Yeah. We're just people. We're just human beings, just like everybody else. But something that we have, Sam, is a gift, and it is our duty to exercise that gift. No pun intended again. It is our duty to be there for the people because that's our gift in life. Some people are great painters. Some people are, better with their, some people are better with their hands. Some people are better doing math equations. I'm horrible at doing math, but I just happen to be really good at writing stories and really good at talking about things that I'm interested in. And in everything that I do, I just want to be passionate about it. And the Blood of Indigo stories all of the songs are individual stories that belong to the bigger concept. And I write songs about dark rituals. So the first song on the album, which we originally released this as a demo song. We re-recorded this song, remastered it, made it amazing. It's called Resurrection. And that song is about a dark ritual about becoming immortal. And it's actually used as a manipulation tactic in the story for Anne-Marie Indigo, who's the big demon character, to get what she wants. She's like,
I've read your synopsis. It's really cool. It's actually going into a dark, almost Shakespearean meets Tim Burton with a dark fantasy twist. It's like, at first you may not get it, but I'm sure by the time the album comes out and each chapter and song is released, you're going to get the full picture. And I find that that's how I like doing things too, you know. Yeah, I might be talking about life, death, rebirth, blah blah blah, crazy things, but there's other things, layers, and many different things happening. And I find doing it that way, instead of just giving everybody everything from the get-go, makes it so interesting. It's like fans can spend their time, and, you know, if you buy the physical product, you can read the lyrics, you can see the artwork, everything kind of matching. It's not, and taking you into a different world, like completely.
That's what it is, man. It's about escapism. Blood of Indigo is a safe place where you can go and you can escape from whatever might be bothering you that day. You can escape into the fantasy world where we all belong. This is who you are. You're part of our cult, you know, like, and, you know, another thing too is, like, I on our page and in our group, I talk a lot about video games and a lot about, like, different collectibles and stuff, because a lot of, you know, our fans are collectors. They like to collect video games and posters. I got a Castlevania poster, right behind me.
Oh yeah,
a 90s TV.
Castlevania fucking rules. Oh man, I played the last Lord of Shadow games and watched the Netflix series, the old school fucking Castlevania games. It's fantastic. It's just too good. Like
100%. Man.
Yeah, like, it's really cool being inspired by all these things, and, you know, exploring our, like, inner crazy thoughts that are up here.
Yeah,
putting it out on paper.
Yeah, and you know, dark fantasy metal is really about embracing your true self. It's about embracing the artist within you and being the person that you were meant to be. Because, you know, there were times in my own life where I said, maybe this is the type of person I'm supposed to be. Am I supposed to keep my hair short and put on a suit and look a certain way? No, I want to be myself. And that's why, you know, I'm growing out my hair, doing me.
Last year, you grew out your beard?
I grew out my beard last year. It was out to here.
Oh, yeah. It's badass.
Had a huge, long-ass beard. And, you know, these are all statements to say, you know what, there's, you know, I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what I want to do. And that's what the music is all about. Dark fantasy metal is all about embracing your true self, becoming who you're supposed to be, embracing the darker side of your inner self, and embracing what you love, man. That's and dark fantasy is a place for all of us to really see what is being revealed. And through those characters in the story, the main character being Angelus, the faceless vampire, it's a story about a vampire who is sentenced to death, and he has to find his true self through battling all these demon monsters and eventually getting to realize his human attributes and becoming a developed and different person. So what another message in the story too is that nobody stays the same forever. We're always growing. We're always advancing. We're always becoming somebody new. And all of these ideas and perceptions that we have of ourselves are personas. And we take on more and more of them the more our brain expands. And that's part of it, man. And, you know, I think that dark fantasy metal, Blood of Indigo, is, you know, the most fulfilling experience of my life. I started the band with Mario originally, and then Nathan came on a couple of months after we had initially started. So ever since we started working with the three of us and bringing all of our amazing talents on board, you know, we have taken this band to great lengths, and we are already successful. And we haven't even released an album yet. You know, we have fans who are asking us about, when's the album coming out? You know, when are things going to be happening? And, you know, right now
it's the power of what we're learning about it. Like, it really helps to connect to everybody the right way and always putting in effort first. You know,
100%.
It's like, if you complain about not having any friends, make an effort to reach out to people first before saying that. You know,
make a change.
Make the first step. Make the first step. Let others follow, or let someone else might make the first step, but they won't always do that.
Yeah, in order for something great to happen, you need to step into the unknown, and sometimes the unknown is very scary. And you know, CJ was talking about this on his podcast. I believe it was yesterday, actually. Yeah. He was saying that a roller coaster to some people is something that's terrifying, and to others, it's exhilarating. And when you step into the unknown, a lot of times when you see something that looks daunting, that looks a little bit unfamiliar, those things can be very terrifying. And, that was, that's the experience that you might have in starting a band or in learning something new. And, nobody wants to feel like they're being ostracized or told that they're not good enough, or say like, maybe this isn't for you. Because when you start telling yourself these stories, the stories you tell yourself over and over and over again, they become real. And that's why, I mentioned earlier the whole thing about, things that were started from your childhood that you need to get rid of as an adult because you don't need to carry these things anymore. Those things are toxic. You don't need them. And it's important for us to always develop and grow and become better people and to learn new things. And the amount of things that you can learn is limitless. You can be a singer, you can be a songwriter, you can be a guitarist, you can be a drummer, bass player, anything you want to do, you can do it. You can be a writer, a doctor, an engineer, a wrestler, whatever you want.
Whatever you're naturally the best at. I find so many parents push their kids to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Or they wanted to do, but couldn't do. Or what they do and they think that their kids should do. But you should just let your kids do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Seriously.
And, unless they're like going around killing people.
No, you want to keep your kids from doing bad things, of course.
Yeah. Imagine if your kid is a murderer. Okay. It may sound bad if your kid's a murderer, but in what context? Is your kid a murderer and is he a serial killer and is he killing people? Is he a cannibal? Is he dissecting people and eating people? Or is he a soldier? Is he protecting your country? A soldier is also a fucking murderer, but a very important one. It's,
I feel like you would just ask your kid, your kid would just be like, hey dad, I want to go kill people. And you'd say like, okay son, but what context are you killing people in?
Exactly. We kill so many things in video games, all this stuff. If you're a killer in real life, like something like as insane as killing people, is just another task to a soldier. It's not a bad thing at all. You're protecting your country, you're protecting your loved ones, you're putting your life on the line to kill someone else so that they don't kill you or your loved ones. So something like the dark task, like my apocalyptic black metal or Alex's dark fantasy metal, yeah, we're talking about dark topics that are maybe hard to handle or swallow because maybe at first it sounds crazy. But if you really break it down, there is a method to your madness. Like I just said, a murderer could be a soldier. And if you don't elaborate on that, you're going to be left half in the dark. You're not going to really, you're going to be scared, because, oh my God, my child has murderous tendencies. Holy shit. Instead of doing that, be like, hey son, do you want to be a soldier? Problem solved. You're going to go fucking kill all your enemies. It's going to be great. Just like that. If your kid wants to be, like Alex said, anything, push them in that, art, medicine.
I think it's a matter of, seeing, observing your kids and seeing what they're good at. I don't have kids, but,
Me either, but
if the time comes in the future where if I do have kids, then if my son or daughter says, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, I'm going to say, what are your interests? What do you like? What are you good at? And then they might say, I don't know. Or they might say, I just want to play video games all day. I would say, okay, well, if you want to play video games all day, well, let's look at opportunities that are within the field that you like. But within the video games, what is it that you like about the video games? Do you like the design aspect of it? Do you like the character development? Do you like just playing? There are questions that we can ask our kids. What are you interested in? And narrow that down more and more, because there are different avenues that you can take. And another thing too is that you're not defined by your job.
Exactly.
What you do doesn't make you who you are. If you work in construction, it doesn't mean that you're just a construction worker and that's all you are.
Yeah.
If you're a bartender, it doesn't mean that you're just a bartender. You're a human being.
Yes.
You have
the
qualities that make you a person just like everybody else. And your job is your skills, and there is pride in what you do. And whether you be a musician, a bartender, a construction worker, doctor, lawyer, whatever, the whole thing where there's I hate how there's a hierarchy on what is more valuable work. that's, that is, that's just kind of, it's a weird topic, because
it's a tough topic. But when I started my podcast, I don't want to like bring in people, and I want to chit chat about us. I want to chit chat about but we're all adults. We deal with real life problems. We grew up with a lot of issues. Other people all our friends are suffering from so many things. So I want to bring the enlightenment into topics that are hard to talk about, and I feel like we can help ourselves get through feelings, tough feelings, and maybe other people can chime in, and I can make a difference in their lives or feelings, and they can do it for me too. And I want to talk about whatever I feel strongly about, because I think, like Tim's saying, outside of parenting, that's how the education system should be. A lot of the education system, if you think about it, is, it teaches you stuff like, hey, read Romeo and Juliet. That's cool. You could be instead teaching them like books like The Big Leap from grade 9, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to be
they should teach mindset in high school.
Yeah, they're going to be so mentally strong, and by the time they get to grade 11, they're going to be like, Mom and Dad, I know exactly what I want to do because I've had 2 years to practice it and get my mind ready to choose my future courses. Then I'm going to finish school. I'm going to go to college or university. If I don't want to go to college or university, I know what else I'm going to do. And your kids will just be prepared. And you'll be like, you'll give your kids more trust the more sincere they are. And I feel like it's a good way to like look at things, where we can, look at our future generations. Like, we don't have kids, but, we're kids of our parents. And anything I went through or you went through, we can shed some light on it. And other people may go through a lot of things. And I know so many people suffer from PTSD, suffer from mental health, just like you're saying, from being childhood traumas, different things like that. And it's so important that as adults we don't face these things. We should be above these things. We're strong-minded individuals, and we want to be goal-oriented. We want to be modest, humble, but be certain of what we want, and without harming anyone. Not necessarily, but without harming anyone that we shouldn't harm. Like I just said, like soldiers, like obviously they're going to harm people. But in our sense, musicians, we don't really have to harm anyone. Our crowds just do it for them by moshing and, bleeding for us and for themselves. And that's just an adrenaline rush, and that's awesome. Moshing with like a fan who's busted his head open and his blood is all over me, and we're just like, hell yeah, metal and all that stuff. That's great. That's a different level of harm. We are not really hurting each other. For anyone that does get hurt at metal shows, yes, I always, let's help a brother out, pick him up, and get him some rest or an ambulance or whatever. But that's just metalheads, man. We're fucking crazy, and what can you say about us? We're crazy in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. You want to have a good time, but you want to make sure that you're not hurting yourself, because nobody wants to have the fire department and the police and the hospital and the paramedics are going to get a free metal show because they're all going to come in and help carry your ass out the door.
Oh, yeah.
But we want to take care of our friends. We want to take care of our community. That's what we want to make sure everybody's safe, everybody's having a good time. And the blood is metal and all that stuff, but at some point we got to make sure that we're taking care of our friends. And if you see somebody fall down in the pit, help them out. Pick up your friends, make sure that they're having a good time. And same goes for if somebody's had too much to drink or too many, anything else, you want to make sure that you look after your friends, because, loyalty and friendship is number one. You want to look after the people that you care about. And, and of course, and you want to be respectful to the people who work there too, right? You want to be respectful to the bartenders who are taking care of you, who are making sure that you're having a good time that night. You want to be respectful to the venue owners who don't want to clean up blood or crap off the floor that you leave on the floor. You want to you want to be responsible. These are these things that that you would think are common sense, but you want to make sure that you're taking care of. You're taking care of your people. You're taking
care of yourself. You're taking care of people around you, and everybody doing that just makes for a better environment. For everyone. I try to see the community like that. Anytime I can help someone, I try to reach out. I cannot do it all the time. Impossible for one person to do, but if we all do our little part in helping each other, we can all get to anything, really. You know. Do you have any last words for anyone? I'm gonna turn off the show soon, but yeah, any last words you have for anyone? Let them know, brother.
Yeah, so I guess my closing words will be this. So, given that our show is on metal vocals, I just wanted to say thank you first, Sam. Thanks for having me on your show, man. Because as a metal vocalist and somebody who is coming into the scene, and somebody who, is just really like, to be honest, I'm so early. I'm so early in my career, and you're very decorated in your metal career because you've been playing shows for 7 years. I haven't played a single show. But I wanted to say thank you for believing in me, and thank you for believing in Blood of Indigo and what we have to offer. And I think that one day we're going to play a really great show together, and possibly many great shows. And I think that, with the Savage Musician Academy that we're part of, as well as Lindsay Schoolcraft, who, dropped in. I don't know if she's still in the video, but maybe she might see this later. She's in the elite program as well. And, I think that, we have a very bright future ahead of us when it comes to our music careers, because we're taking on, the e-commerce world, and we're trying to make this ultimately our careers. We want to work from home, and we want to, go in a different direction from what the typical record label formula is, which is, something completely different from what we're doing, which is the independent entrepreneur mindset. And that's what we're taking on. And
it's really challenging, but at the same time so rewarding to do everything by ourselves. Like, I could not do all the work by myself, but I could. And doing so, I will have learned so much more, and every interaction with any fans or anything will be so much more personal. And I think that's what I enjoy the most about doing it this way. I love playing shows. I'd love to go on full tours and do all the whole 9 yards and all that stuff. But I want to start from ground up and work my way up, and carry everyone that was there for me all the way up with me. Not
100%.
Like, I think that's the best way we can, look at our career as we grow, because people that help you grow, you should also help them grow. And that's how we can build a better community all over the world. And the metal community is pretty big, People think like anything metal is not a big genre. It's a huge genre. It's like prevalent in any part of the world. We're metal vocalists. We're influenced by metal vocalists all over the world, and it's really nice to have you at my show. And I'm basically doing this every week because it's the best way I can think of to connect with my friends, my bandmates, the fans, producers, artists, performers of any kind on a weekly basis, and really shed some light on like different things. Today we're talking about vocals. Next week we're going to be talking about something else, and the week after. And I'm going to be taking suggestions on like what people are interested about. Like I said, any dark topics, any deep topics, no problem. I will gladly talk about it, because if I can help you get over something, get over some fears, or get over any self-doubt, or anything you're facing, I always take the time to get back to every fan. Any message you send me, no problem. And if I can help you feel better, I'm not looking for a sale from every interaction. If you say hi, I'll say hi back. Like, it's simple as that. It's just really nice to do it this way, personal interaction, and everything feels so like close to the heart. I think that's the metal is kind of close to all our heart, for like doing it this way, the way we're doing it feels right.
That's right, man. Metal comes from the heart. It's the most genuine genre of music that I can think of. And, this podcast reflects that as well. This is a program which I think that a lot of people who are tuning in today and have been tuning in, also want to say thank you to all the listeners, or the viewers. I'm so used to radio. I want to say thank you to all the viewers today on the podcast, because, because of you guys, that gives us a voice as metal vocalists, as artists, gives our band a voice, gives us as human beings a voice, you know, and I'm big on, you know, everybody just being a big familia, you know. Everyone comes together and building community. You know, that's what we're all about, man. That's what metal is all about. It's all about being the truest version of yourself and being part of a community and embracing your dark nature.
Oh yeah.
As Astaroth Incarnate would put it best.
Well, hey man, we both embrace it in the best way possible. So thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, everybody, say bye to Alex. Thanks for joining me, bro. I'm going to be closing out this podcast soon. So, all right, you have a great one, bro.
Take care, brother.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining for my first podcast of Hour of the Demon. I had my friend Alex join me and talk to me about vocals, lyrics, themes, many other great topics, life, and, you know, personal issues, how we can connect to our fans and friends and be there for each other. And I'm going to be doing this every week. Next week will be Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Thanks for everyone who tuned in. Some of you that may know me from before. I am Sam Astaroth. I am the singer of Astaroth Incarnate. You can check us out on astaroth.com. I recently just finished our website, so it's up and running. I tried to put the story of the last 6.5 years of our career into the website, and any suggestions you have, send it my way. I want to make it as interactive and, you know, connect with you guys as best as possible. Also, we just put up our official shop at shop.astaroth.com. So if you'd like to purchase anything or be a part of our Spawn family, then yeah, feel free to check out our shop. We have many items there, and we're going to be running it very seasonal based from now on, where I may not have items after a certain season passes. Also, we're going to be doing various playthroughs, including myself and everyone else, which, you know, I have done one last week, Cattle Decapitation, Bring Back the Plague, and Bring Back the Plague. And this Friday I'm going to be releasing an Astaroth Incarnate song from our first EP, Curse of the Black Plague, so look forward to that on Friday. Next week on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I'm going to have the second episode of Hour of the Demon with my friend and bandmate Dylan from Iomir. And that week I'm going to be going into the studio to record vocals for the second album. And that Friday we're going to be releasing a vocal playthrough for one of the Iomir songs. So stay tuned. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining. See you next week. Take care.